All right, so there are 3 points to my opposition to the conversion therapy ban bill. Firstly, there is no evidence, there is nothing to suggest that any forceful or abusive conversion therapy is occurring anywhere in New Zealand. So really, this bill is a poor use of time and resources, just as I've had to take time off work today to make this submission on a bill which I feel is trying to fix something that is not broken, or worse, breaking something that is working fine. We already know that there is nothing that necessitates this bill. There have been no cases of recent harmful, abusive, or damaging unwanted conversion therapy. In my next 2 points, I will tell you what actually happens in the real world as someone who is actually living the role, firstly, of the wife of a pastor, of a church pastor, and secondly, as a general practitioner myself. In other words, I'd like to tell you what actually happens and what we actually see and do, not what you think might be happening. So firstly, my husband is a church pastor at New Zealand's largest Korean church, and I look after a group of 70 plus adolescents and do a lot of counseling. Anyone who knows anything about counseling knows that it is purely voluntary and driven by the needs and wants of the person seeking help. Church is a place where we encourage people, where we help them find a purpose in life and to provide a loving, caring community that sustains them through difficulties and joys of life. Not a single part of that church mission is possible through force or abuse. People are free to come and leave as they please, and they only stay by their free will. No one sticks by if they don't like what we have to offer. So there really isn't room for any force or coercion. You can't make anyone believe or follow anything at church unless they wanted to and it made them truly happy. So abusive conversion therapy far from exists anywhere near a church. It isn't even possible. And lastly, as a general practitioner myself who sees and treats LGBTQ plus patients, I can tell you from actual experience that traumatic or difficult experiences and mental health issues are underlying most, if not all, these patients that I've met so far. This goes to show the dangers of simply affirming gender disorientation at an early age. It proves that so much more needs to be done to get to the bottom of why this change has occurred. Has occurred before ignoring all the other serious causes which have manifested as gender identity crises. Simply affirming their gender change without giving them an opportunity to explore and seek treatment for the cause will only lead to people falling into long-term irreversible physical and mental damage that follows gender reassignment therapy. And we already know the immense damage and costs involved in gender reassignment therapy, so I won't mention that here. The even greater concern is the sheer load of mental health crises that will arise and overwhelm our already breaking mental health system if conversion therapy ban occurs, as it will result in parents, friends, church, and close supportive community networks of people no longer being able to help these patients. Effectively, we will end up with undermined parents, broken families, non-existent communities, and struggling lost LGBTQ plus patients, which the government will have to take care of directly, and this isn't feasible. Thank you for listening.